tonight, and the question I've got is, who do we sue?
Not me, not me.
Okay. So, good evening, fellow classmates. Welcome back to your hometown. I know a lot of you came from great distances, so we're especially appreciative to those who went out of their way so far to be here. It's good to see everybody. I think I must be Rip Van Winkle because it seems like I went to bed one night and the next day I woke up and it was 50 years later. Are you starting to feel your age? This getting old thing is really for the birds. The other day I was complimented on my alligator shoes. I was barefoot at the time. When we were back in high school, the Dead Sea was only a little bit sick. It was that long ago. And today's zeitgeist, we have to change the name of everything. So next time somebody calls you an old fart, just tell them you're chronologically gifted. It seems like I'm spending more and more time seeing doctors. Last time I went to the doctor, he said, I've got good news and I've got bad news. The good news is you're the perfect weight. The bad news is you're 3 feet too short. I'm finally at the age, though, where everything's starting to click for me. My ankles, my knees, my hips, my back. I finally realized that snap, crackle, and pop I hear every morning has nothing to do with my breakfast cereal. I'm waiting for Campbell's Soup Company to come out with an alphabet soup in large print format. Large print font. My father-in-law used to say, I pay the doctor, or the barber, $10 to cut my hair, and $15 to find it. But there's good news. I've got a hint that I figured out. I figured out most of us have problems with wrinkles. I figured out how to make them go away. I take my glasses off before I look in the mirror. Fixes everything right up. 3 of the classmates came together, and one of them said it's windy, and the other says, no, I think it's Thursday. And the third one says, so am I, let's go get a beer.
That's our class.
So I got this hearing aid. I went all out, paid top dollar to get the thing, and the first day somebody said, what time is it? I said, it's 4:30. So I had to go back to the doctor and get the upgrade, but they finally gave me one that was just perfect. So when I went back for my 30-day checkup, he says, how do you like it? And I said, everything is fine, it's just perfect. He says, well, what does your family think of your newfound hearing? I said, I haven't said a word. Didn't say anything about it. But I have changed my will 3 times. One of the advantages of being 68 is all of us have finally learned everything worth knowing. The only problem is remembering what it is. My wife and I lived a lot of places. We were basically just trying to find out where we wanted to retire. And we finally decided to move to Hell. It's a real place, Hell, Michigan. It's a really nice place. It's up in the lake area, and it's just beautiful up there. I don't know why they named it that, but that's what we're stuck with. One night we were eating at the inn, and we saw this elderly gentleman come in. He had on a brand new Brooks Brothers suit. He had on a silk tie. He had a slight smell of a really nice aftershave. He was freshly manicured, well coiffed. He looked around the place, and he saw this lady about his age sitting over at the bar. So he went over and he sat down beside her. He ordered a drink. He took a sip. He turned to her and said, tell me, do I come here often? The bartender told us another great story of something he came across there. He said that this elderly gentleman went into a jewelry store with a sweet young 21-year-old. And he said to the jeweler, I'd like to buy something very special, a really nice bracelet for my girlfriend here. And the jeweler says, well, we have one for $5,000. He said, well, I'm looking for something even more special than that. The jeweler says, well, the best one we have is back in the vault. It costs $170,000. He brought it out, and the guy says, I'll take it. So the jeweler says, how are you going to be paying for this? He said, by check. He says, I realize you've got to check with my bank to make sure the check is good, but I'll be back Monday morning to pick up the bracelet. So on Monday morning, the jeweler called up and he said, I called your bank, and they said, you don't have any money in the bank. The guy said, yeah, I lied to my girlfriend also. Instead of telling her I'm 70, I told her I was 90. But he said, let me tell you about my weekend. Still on the subject of eating, one time when Mark and I were in Paris, we went into a restaurant and we told the maitre d' that we wanted a non-smoking table. So he took us out to the table right in the middle of the room and took the ashtray off the table. My uncle just died at age 98, and before he died, I asked him what was the secret to such longevity. And he says, well, I just lived a long time. And I said, no, I'm looking for something more specific. I want to be able to tell my friends some advice. And he says, well, what you do is first you get to 100 and then watch out. Let me tell you about Judy Rosebrough's sense of humor. She wrote, and she knew, she said, oh, and used about 27 O's. So I wrote back to her and I told her that she exceeded the government regulation on the number of O's that she was allowed to use, and I was going to report her to the authorities because there was a tax on those O's. So she wrote me back a big, long email, and she took out every single O. She replaced them with an underline. Score.
Okay.